Hi, this is Selvi, Department of English, JJ College of Arts and Science, Pudukkottai. In this presentation, let us discuss Emily Dickinson's life and her poem Success is Counted Sweetest. First, let us see the introduction to the author, Emily Dickinson. Emily Dickinson was born on December 10, 1830 in Amherst, Massachusetts, and she died in the house in which she was born. The Dickinsons were a distinguished, respected, and long established New England family. Emily was the second child of Edward Dickinson, a lawyer, and Emily Norcross, a passive and submissive woman. She grew up companioned mainly by her older brother and younger sister, who were to remain her closest ties. In accordance with the family emphasis upon education, she attended the Amherst Academy, the local primary school, and later attended the Mount Holyoke Female Seminary for less than a year in 1847. Her scholastic career, both at the academy and at the seminary, was marked by frequent withdrawals due to precarious health. She came under the spell of Ben Newton, her father's brilliant law apprentice, who recognized her creative potential and encouraged her. His death in 1853 left her shaken. In her writing, she was encouraged by Samuel Bowles, the editor of the Springfield Republican. She did not belong to any movement, nor was she indebted to any. Emily Dickinson used poetry as a means to explore her inner self. Therefore, her poetry may be looked upon not merely as biographical revelations but also as a spiritual autobiography of her inner life. To her, poetry was not only a mode of communication in her sentimental journey but also a necessity for her spiritual survival and self discovery, a virtual pilgrim's progress towards her own ideal psyche, and the inviolability of selfhood was the substance and refrain of almost everything she wrote. It is her poems and letters that help us to understand and evaluate her better than any number of biographies on her. Emily Dickinson's poems contain short lines, typically lack titles, and often use slant rhymes. Many of her poems deal with the themes of nature, death, and immortality. Just as Thoreau attempted to seek reality in nature, Dickinson attempted to seek the truth of life in nature. Consequently, nature became an allegorical projection of her internal drama as her poems present a spectrum of her reactions to it. She was a prolific poet. Only 10 of her poems were published during her lifetime. The first volume of her poems, edited jointly by Mabel Loomis Todd and T.W. Higginson, appeared in November 1890. Her poems were unique to her era. The poem Success is Counted Sweetest has the reputation of being published during Dickinson's lifetime. Experience can be gained only through the absence of the subject to be known. I am reading the poem Success is Counted Sweetest. Success is counted sweetest by those who never succeed. To comprehend a nectar requires sorest need. Not one of all the purple host who took the flag today can tell the definition so clear of victory, as he defeated, dying, on whose forbidden ear the distant strains of triumph burnt agonized and clear. Now let us see the first stanza and its summary. Success is counted sweetest by those who never succeed. To comprehend the nectar requires sorest need. The epigrammatic opening of the poem states a generalization about people who never succeed. Success is enjoyed and understood most by those who do not attain it. They treasure the idea of success more than others do. The idea is given additional physical force by the declaration that only people in great thirst understand the nature of what they need. The use of comprehend about a physical substance creates a metaphor for spiritual satisfaction. This stanza establishes the theme that the person who best understands the meaning of success is the person who fails. This quatrain can stand alone as a complete observation. Nectar, the meaning of nectar. In Greek mythology, nectar was the drink of the gods, conferring on them immortality. In common usage, a nectar is any delectable drink, or figuratively, any uplifting experience. Now we can see the second stanza of the poem. Not one of all the purple host who took the flag today can tell the definition so clear of victory. This stanza introduces military imagery. Purple host, it refers to the army, and took the flag. That means the army captured the flag. That signifies victory. Having briefly introduced people who are learning through deprivation, Dickinson goes on to the longer description of a person dying on a battlefield. The word host, referring to an armed troop, gives the scene an artificial elevation intensified by the royal color purple. But the stanza cannot stand alone as a completed observation. Rather, it requires the third stanza to complete its meaning. Now let us see the third stanza and its explanation. As he defeated dying, on whose forbidden ear the distant strains of triumph burst agonized and clear. This stanza completes the second, saying that a defeated soldier dying fully comprehends the meaning of victory when he hears the enemy celebrating. That is, the victorious or seemingly victorious people understand the nature of victory much less than does a person who has been denied and lies dying. His ear is forbidden because it must strain to hear and will soon not hear at all. Pain lends clarity to the perception of victory. The bursting of strains near the moment of death emphasizes the greatness of sacrifice. The vanquished is better placed, for he knows the worst has happened to him and nothing drearer can happen in his life. The real pleasure in life is not in reaching the goal, but in the incessant struggle to reach there. Now we can see the analysis of the poem. The poem's success theme is treated paradoxically. This is a harsh poem in the sense that it asks for agreement with an almost cruel doctrine. However, its harshness is often overlooked because of its crisp pictorial quality and its pretended cheerfulness. The poem shows how painful situations create knowledge and experience not otherwise available and affirms that we learn only through failure. Suffering is an act of dignity, and one who learns to suffer without expecting to partake of the fruit of suffering is really learning through experience. Bloom says that its theme was one she returned to a number of times during her literary career, as in water is taught by thirst. The poem, Bloom writes, is one of Dickinson's more masculine poems and emphasizes the power of desire and equates desire with victory. From a Christian perspective, Bloom explains the sounds bursting on the dying warrior's ears may be heavenly music as has passes to his eternal rest. Although Dickinson's poems are often read as poems of losing at romance, Bloom points out that the popularity of success can be attributed to the fact that the poem's message can be applied to any situation where there are winners and losers. Thank you.